Are you planning a Disney vacation during the summer months and you would like tips on how to avoid the heat and the crowds? Let's talk special events right here on the Disney Slowdown. Disney has started doing these after hours events, and I have 5 good reasons for you to consider these during your next vacation. The first one is avoiding the heat. Florida heat is no joke, y'all. It just sucks the life right out of you, and you're walking around on that concrete jungle, and maybe even it's a fall day or a spring day, and you're thinking, no problem. It still gets into the 80s and 90s, and the Florida sun constantly shines, which is great. I mean, that's why people come here, right? But if you're not used to it, it can really suck you dry. So that's one good reason to consider the special events. Another good reason is it's a limited ticket event, so the crowds are a lot less than what you're going to find during a normal park day at Disney. The third reason why I think you should consider a special events tickets is because the crowds are a lot smaller, you won't need Genie Plus to navigate and get all of the rides accomplished. The fourth reason, and probably my biggest reason, is you get snacks included with your event ticket. What? Yes. Premium ice cream bars, so those Mickey bars, strawberry popsicles, ice cream sandwiches, also Mickey shaped, select soda and water that's in a bottle, so it's Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, I believe, maybe Diet Sprite, and Dasani water, all included. Popcorn, no need to bring your popcorn bucket. You get the boxes of popcorn. That's also included in your price. I'm already a huge fan. There are unique characters that will be around the parks during the after hours event, some that you don't get to see on a regular basis. So that may be fun. But if you're looking forward to seeing a character that you can go into the park and see all the time, you might be disappointed. I've got a plan though. Don't worry, I've got a plan. Let's talk about some negatives. Yes, of course, there's going to be negatives. First of all, you're not going to be able to see any of the shows. They're not going to be open. You can get into the select park of the after hours event. You can get in a couple hours early. So you will be able to see Fantasmic if you're in Hollywood Studios. The fireworks at Magic Kingdom. The show, I don't even know what it's called, at Epcot. So those are going to be available to you. And I highly recommend that you take advantage of those couple extra hours, because here's reason number 2 that it might not be so great for you is there's not going to be a lot of food options available. So you're going to have to either eat before you get into the park or come into the park, go ahead and grab some real food, because once the after hour event starts, then it's only going to be those snacks. So you're going to be limited to popcorn, ice cream bars, and bottled drinks, which, you know, I mean, I'm a huge fan of popcorn, and I would probably eat several ice cream bars too. It's fine. The other negative is if your kids cannot hang. My kids don't do well late at night. Now, they're getting better as they get older, but it didn't matter how late we would keep them up at night, they would still wake up at the same time in the morning. So it was very difficult for us to stay up too late at night, because the next morning there was no such thing as sleeping in. Now that they're older, they're starting to do more of that sleep regulation, but they did not have that when they were younger. So we are actually going to attempt Mickey and Minnie's Not So Scary Halloween Party this year. So pray for us, and I will let you know how that goes. But if you have kids that just cannot hang, then maybe these are not a good idea, because they're going to be late at night. I mean, it could be midnight, 1 o'clock before the event ends. Another downside is you can't totally plan for the after hours events, because they only publish dates for a few months at a time. So unlike, like, if you're planning your Disney vacation for July of 2025, you're not going to know which after hours events are even available until probably January, maybe February of 2025. Where right now you could go on and you could say, okay, we want, 5 tickets for this week. That's how they do the surge pricing, is that if you say you want 5 days, then they will take 10 days from your start date and then they average it. So I have a video about that. Can a family of 5 go to Disney for less than $5,000? I talk about the surge pricing and the tickets. I will go ahead and link that here so you can go and review that. You got to know how to play the game when it comes to Disney, right? Right now, I just looked up on the website, and Hollywood Studios, Magic Kingdom, and Epcot, and Typhoon Lagoon, they all have after-hours events. They all include the snacks. Now, on top of that, there's going to be a standby queue for both Guardians in Epcot, if that's the park you choose, and Tron in Magic Kingdom. If you watch the vloggers, everybody that does the after hours events goes right to those big rides. So you could spend 45 minutes or maybe even longer in the standby queue if you go there first. You might want to consider doing other attractions first and getting your snacks, and then at the very end of the event, go into the standby queue for the rides. Now, if you have a tendency to get motion sickness and you don't really want to eat a whole lot, then maybe that's a good thing for you, right? They're not going to let you start in the standby queue until right at the event time. So if it's 9 p.m., well, okay, let's say that Epcot closes at 9. They're still calling virtual queues until 8:59. At 9 o'clock, they'll cut it off, and then you can start your standby queue. But you're going to have a whole group of people in front of you that are still there for the regular park day. And that's where it could be 45 minutes or longer if you are going to try and do that first. But if you get that out of the way, you go through, get all your snacks. You just kind of have to strategize that a little bit. And the My Disney Experience app does work, so it will show you the wait times. Honestly, anything 30 minutes or less is practically a walk-on. Now, I looked at ticket prices. So I just randomly chose a week. I did the last week of June in 2024. Ticket prices for a daytime ticket is about $145 to about, I think it was $159, might have gone up into $160 something, right? So if I did 3 tickets, I wrote this down. If I did 1 park per day and 4 tickets during that week, my price is $143 per ticket. During that week, there are actually 3 after-hours events. There's one at Hollywood Studios, there's one at Magic Kingdom, and there's one at Typhoon Lagoon. So that could be a really fun week, and you're avoiding a lot of the heat. Now, it still gets hot in Florida, 6 p.m. It's still hot here. So you're not missing all the heat. Don't worry. You're not going to be cold, probably, at Typhoon Lagoon if you planned that. The downside is if it's heavy storms, they may end up canceling the event. So how good are your kids with playing it by ear and like, ooh, we're going to take a gamble and do this thing, but it might not happen. I don't know if you can set that expectation up for them or if it would just cause huge meltdowns. That's something you're going to have to work through in your own head. So during that week, Hollywood Studios, the after hours event was $165 per person. The Magic Kingdom was $165 per person, and Typhoon Lagoon was $75. $143. So $20 difference. You don't have to buy Genie Plus for everybody, which is at least $22. It's been more, especially at Magic Kingdom. It's been a lot more. You're not going to have the huge crowds, and you get free snacks. I mean, each of those snacks is about $6. The box of popcorn is like $5.95, and your ice cream bars are over $6. Your bottles of soda and water are like $4.95. So, if you're talking a difference here of $22, you don't have to buy Genie Plus. You're not extremely miserable in 100+ degree heat, and you get free snacks. Like, totally worth it. Totally worth it. As long as your kids can hang, right? Now, the other specialty events are the Halloween party. So Mickey and Minnie's Not So Scary Halloween Party, those are going to start in August. And they will run through October. Sometimes, depending on where that falls, they might pick up the first weekend of November. And that one does not have free drinks and snacks, but you do get trick-or-treating and you do get the specialty shows. So you can, again, come into Magic Kingdom a couple hours beforehand. You can see the fireworks shows. Then you would have the stage show for Mickey and Minnie's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I do believe that also has a parade with all their ghoulies, like the Dapper Dans are... I don't know what they are. They're ghoulie Dans or something. I don't remember what they're called. You're going to have those special events plus trick-or-treating. And I have seen people ask in the groups, how do you get 50 pounds of candy home on the plane? Well, fly Southwest, bring an extra bag. Like, really. That's what I would do. We're driving. We have the trunk of the car. And we're going to make it home with, I don't know how much candy. It's sponsored by M&M bars, so this isn't like Tootsie Rolls. This is going to be some good stuff. They also have the Christmas parties. They have Mickey and Minnie's Very Merry Christmas Party. Those start in, I think, November. And then, of course, they go through December. And they also started doing Jollywood Nights, which is at Hollywood Studios. Now, that one... the Very Merry Christmas Party, I believe they have hot cocoa and cookies included with your ticket price. I don't remember if there's anything included with Jollywood Nights or not, but each of those holiday-themed parties, they have special event eats and treats only for those events. So those are kind of fun. Now, you do have to purchase them, but it's going to be an exclusive snack or drink that is only offered during the events. So if you're coming anywhere between August and December, you might actually be planning to pick up one of those tickets. Those would be fun. It can be a gamble, but I think it's a gamble worth taking. If you're already planning your trip, then wait to buy your tickets. Start saving up. Plan for your hotel. You might want to book. I would book a resort. I mean, that's what we do. We've got a large family. I would rather have a resort, cook my own food for the most part. We can bring food into the parks. If we had to come in during the day because maybe we hit a week and there's absolutely no tickets, or maybe there's one late evening park day, but the rest of them we're going to have to buy day tickets, so we decide to bypass that. We used to bring a cooler with ice, put it in the trunk of the car. We'd come in for a couple hours. And then when we were getting ready for lunch, we would leave the park. We'd have in our cooler, we'd have sandwiches and fruits and veggies and chips and water, maybe some, fruit drinks or whatever, squeeze boxes, something like that. We'd eat while we were driving on the way back to the resort, get back there, take a nap, and then come back to the park after we're rested and the sun has gone down a little bit. You know, maybe the kids want to play in the pool. That's perfect too. Are you finding this helpful? I hope that you are enjoying my videos, and I would really love if you would subscribe, share this video with a friend who might be planning a Disney trip, and hit that notification bell so you know when I have a new video. What things would you like to know about, or something that you might have questions about? I would love your input and ideas. I want to make sure that these tools and videos are helpful and useful for you when you're planning your trip. I know how daunting it can be to try to plan something like this, and there's so many moving parts to Disney. I just want to be helpful and useful. So go ahead and leave some comments below. I would love to know. I'd love feedback and any ideas for future videos. And if you're considering a solo trip or a mom trip, I am here. Let's do it. I am getting ready to take a solo trip, a 2-day trip by myself. I'm so excited. I've got a lot of things planned too. So I'm doing this for you. I really am. I'm doing it for you. But come find me on Patreon because you can see what I'm up to. This is my therapy. Disney is my therapy. Doing these things, this is therapeutic for me. It's refreshing for me. What I do during the day and what consumes my life has more to do with supporting foster kids and the families that care for them. So you can find out more about that on Patreon. Come over and say hi. And if you would like to be part of a mom's trip or help plan a mom's trip, then you definitely need to go find me over there and get all the details. I hope I've been able to show you how thinking just a little bit outside of the box may actually save you money, time, and energy. And avoiding meltdowns, because let me tell you, when that Florida heat hits you, radiating off that concrete, everybody loses their mind. Everybody loses their mind. The after hours events, I think, are definitely something that I would consider if I were bringing my family for a vacation and my kids could hang. I hope it doesn't freak you out too much that you can't totally plan it. That's the one thing that I think might stress you out the most, unless you can really just pivot and fly by the seat of your pants. There's so much planning that goes into Disney that it's kind of awkward to say, okay, I'm going to plan every single detail, and yet I'm not going to plan. That might be hard. And if you're planning a trip like August or September, like it might even be less notice than if you're planning one in June or July. Because I believe we're waiting on the Not So Scary Halloween tickets. Those are going to go on sale like end of April, beginning of May. And then they're going to fill in all those dates. So that Not So Scary is going to be August, September, and October. So if that's what you're trying to go for, you're not going to know what days those are until May. And if you are coming like the beginning of August, that could be really difficult for you to plan. I get it. And then, of course, we're not going to know if there's any other after-hours events at Epcot or Hollywood Studios. Oh, one more thing that I checked. You were coming that last week of June of 2024, and you went ahead and you did the Hollywood Studios on Wednesday night for the after-hours events. Thursday night, Magic Kingdom, just for this week. They do change. And then Typhoon Lagoon on Friday night. Like, that would be a bang-up schedule. But you still want to hit Epcot and Animal Kingdom. You can get two one-day tickets, one park per day. So you could do 1 day at Animal Kingdom, 1 day at Epcot, and that's going to be $147 per day per park, per person. So you're really not saving that much by doing 5 separate days, especially when you consider the snacks that are included, less heat, less crowds, and not having to get Genie Plus. You would probably be able to use your DAS during regular business hours. So if you can get into the parks at, let's say, Hollywood Studios, you can get into the parks as early as 7 and the event starts at 9:30. So from 7 to 9, you could probably use your DAS, but I would seriously consider using that time to get something to eat, real food, real protein food, and watch Phantasmic. And then go ride the rides, and you wouldn't be using your DAS, but you really wouldn't need to either. The question is, which one would I do? It's so hard. I don't think that I would do Magic Kingdom just because the rides are a lot smaller, and I don't really care about Tron. Epcot is very tempting. 1, because of Guardians, obviously. And 2, because the maple popcorn cart will be open as well. So you're not going to just get the buttered popcorn, but you get the maple popcorn over in Canada. I'm thinking that I would probably scan into the park, hit the maple popcorn cart, maybe go to Remy's, come back, hit the maple popcorn cart, come back around, check the time for Guardians. I mean, I don't really care about a lot of the rides in any of the parks. I mean, they're fun, but it's not something that I have to do. I would totally be there for the snacks. The strawberry bars look really good. I've not indulged in one yet. I may have to try that maybe on my 2-day solo trip, for science. I need to try them out for science, right? The other tempting one would be Hollywood Studios because you have so many attractions that are so popular. Slinky Dog Dash and Toy Story Mania are a lot of fun. Now, you wouldn't get to see the Muppet Show, but it'll be okay. Rise of the Resistance, that it's not necessarily a thrill attraction, but it's really an interesting and entertaining event. I call it an event. You're on there for like 20 minutes. You're going through this story for like 20 minutes. That would be a fun one. Of course, Tower of Terror. Now, Rock and Rollin' Roller Coaster is down for refurbishment again. Maintenance, I don't know. They did this last year too, and it was down like the beginning of the year until I think May. They didn't improve it any. Like, it beats you up. It's a fun ride. I don't know that I would ride it again just because it really beats you up, but it is really fun. So, I mean, just getting those out of the way, and of course, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That one's a lot of fun. So, Tower of Terror, Runaway Railway, Rise of the Resistance, Slinky Dog Dash, Toy Story Mania, like that would be on my top list. And of course, snacking all the way around. That's what I would do at Hollywood Studios. I hope that you have found this valuable and fun and entertaining, and I hope it gives you something to think about. Let me know in the comments below what else you would like to see on this channel. I am here for you. Come find me on Patreon. I'd love to get to know you more. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you on the next video.